it's more of a friendly question. Actually, it's a two-part question. Is it odd the older you get when you start rooting for younger guys? Because anytime I bring up a younger athlete nowadays, I notice my buddies always say, dude, you sweat that guy. I'm like, hold on. I don't sweat that guy. I root for that kid. There's a big difference because we all hit an age where you used to root for your guys, right? But you were rooting up. You were looking up to them. Now, as you get older, you're older than these kids, but you're still rooting for them.
Well, it's a good way
you're
to
not looking up to them the way you once did.
It's a good way to bust your buddy's huevos because when you were a kid or younger, you looked up to Don Mattingly and Dave Winfield and then Derek Jeter. But Derek Jeter was the last guy you looked up to.
Right. So as I get older, I'm still rooting for players and people, but a lot of times they're younger than me, and I'll be talking about them. And instead of people perceiving it as, oh, he's just a fan rooting for them. Dude, you sweat that guy.
Yo, Danny G,
I don't
what does that mean?
How hard does...
Meaning like I'm fanboying over younger guys or younger athletes.
You don't see the difference, I was Sam? Because I'll explain. Like, Danny G rooting for Magic Johnson or Kobe.
It's a little boy. You want to be like that guy.
Yeah, you're like, that's my hero.
Right.
Yeah, they're older.
Yeah.
Danny G rooting for a Laker now that's 23 years old or something just has a different vibe to it.
Yeah. It
Like,
just feels
like
lame.
you rooting for, Fernando Valenzuela is different than you rooting for, Mookie Betts.
Right.
Whoa, you're getting carried away. Fernando was my dad's guy.
Okay, I don't want to make you that old, Danny.
How about Oral Hershiser?
There you go. But you know what?
go.
Like, Covino, we keep busting his chops. Be like, dude, can you sweat Ryan Garcia more?
Right. And it's like, I don't sweat him. I root for him.
Yeah, it's not like Covino has a poster of him up in your guys'
No, I'm just kidding.
Patreon studio.
No.
Now, if he did.
Like, I've been bringing up this rock star, Des Rocks. Some of you guys may have heard Dana White talk about him. They play him all throughout UFC fights and fight nights and things like that.
God, you sweat this guy.
And every time I'm like, yo, man, that Des Rocks. Richard's like, man, you sweat this guy. I think you love him.
It's
like, hold on, slow down.
It's a different angle, Covino. Like, all right,
And when
for
I bring up
instance-
Garcia or anyone else who I'm into, again, you have to make that mental mind adjustment as you get older because you are rooting for people that are significantly younger than you. But I take a lot of joy in rooting for their success.
Bro, of course I admire young talent in sports and music.
We all do.
And let's be honest.
We all made that adjustment.
You still admire good-looking women in their 20s. Who doesn't? But it's different when you're younger. When I was a kid and my posters on my wall were Joe Montana, Gary Carter, and Cindy Crawford, they were all way older than me. Now, if I'm telling you guys about, like, dude, it's all about Francisco Lindor, Brock Purdy, and, Sidney Sweeney, you'd be like, all right, dude, they were like all way younger than you.
You've kind of been a stalker on Brock Purdy.
A little bit. See, and
I think
Danny,
you sweat him.
perfect.
Why don't you marry him?
Perfect, because Danny G makes fun of me for it, which leads into what you're
But
saying.
in reality, he's a young kid that you root for. Hey, I like this kid. I'm just rooting for him. That's the reality. But your fans will bust your huevos a little bit about your fanboy
You're like his
of
sports
this guy.
stepdad.
Right.
You know
I
why?
root for this kid. He's like,
You know where
like
you
an
see
uncle.
this? You see this at the NFL draft where you look at the guys' moms and you be like, I would. Because if you're roughly 40-ish, you're closer in age to their parents. When I see Brock Purdy's mom and dad, like, oh, way to go. Or when you see Angel Reese's dad, or Caitlin Clark the other night, when you saw her dad, living on every pass and shot, I'm like, yo, her dad's like my age.
Yeah, I know.
If you're 40-ish,
He rolled his eyes a few times on a few of those turnovers.
I'm just saying, these athletes are different, so
I think it's
I can make fun of
relatable.
you.
We all made that mental mind adjustment from rooting upward, looking up to those guys, to now just rooting for these younger kids in a different way. Ryan Garcia happens to be one of those guys for me. Granted, I know he's been a little polarizing, unhinged, a bit of a clown. I'm not necessarily a fan of his behavior, but
That's my
coming
favorite part
up,
of him.
I know, and now he's a household name as a result. But I was rooting for this kid when he was a teenager, right? As a boxing fan, like I remember when he was a young teen, like, yo, this kid's going to be a star. And I have a question based on that. So it's a double doozy. It's that mental mind adjustment we make as fans as we grow older and as we grow. But
well, based on what you said, could explain why the older you get, you may disagree with me, but I think a lot of times you may buy a Legends jersey for your team instead of the younger guy because it just feels
Always.
It feels like not weird.
Totally.
Like you go to a
I
49ers.
completely agree. Maybe that's ego or something, but I agree.
You go to a 49ers game, you're going to see a bunch of Steve Youngs, Jerry Rices, Joe Montanas, obviously.
The Purdy jerseys for the younger kids.
Yeah, Purdy jerseys for my son.
You gotta stand up.
Not for me.
Yeah, you got to stand up as one of the OGs.
That's what we're saying, Iowa Sam, and I'm glad you questioned it because I do want to make it clear. So based on that, double doozy, right? Prong 2, shout out to Prong, snap your fingers, snap your neck to this point.
Prong.
Ryan Garcia, a kid I liked since he was a little kid, is now just calling out everybody. And he wants to take a fight. He's saying, hey, if Canelo doesn't want to fight David Benavidez, and it's not that Canelo doesn't want to. Canelo wants to get the money right. He's not ducking anybody. But Garcia's saying, look, if it doesn't happen, that doesn't happen, I'll fight David Benavidez. Now, to put it in perspective, Benavidez is the guy that Mike Tyson calls the Mexican monster. He's unbelievable, unbeatable, the Mexican monster. And Benavidez fights at 178. Garcia just fought his last fight that everyone was talking about at 143. So, as a friend, this is a general question. Doesn't even have to do with sports, really. As a friend or as someone that views Ryan Garcia, do you give them advice when you see them making a mistake?
If you see your buddy getting back together with a woman that's not right for him, if you see your buddy picking a fight at a bar with a guy that you know could whoop his ass,
or going for a job opportunity, or barging into the manager's office because he thinks he deserves a raise, but really you think he's making a mistake doing these things, do you say, hey, pause, buddy, don't do that, and here's why, as a friend, or do you let them figure it out on their own?
That's a good question.
Because let's say I view Ryan Garcia in that way. As a friend, I would say, yo, dude, I love what you're doing. I love that you're in the headlines, and, man, you're feeling yourself right now. You're the guy. You're the face of boxing. But as a 143-pound kid who, I'm sure you could gain another 10, 15 pounds easily, you want to fight a dude that's fighting at 178 right now? Yeah, look how Canelo's...
I'm fearless, man.
Hey, that's great and all. But maybe you should, if you're going to take a heavier fight, not take the best in that division. Now, he did say he'd fight at a catch weight of 168 if they want to make it happen. But these little guys, when they go up, the power doesn't always transfer. When Canelo went up and fought Bivol, it didn't transfer. He lost.
Yeah.
Garcia, I don't think is ready for that. And based on that, forget about the Garcia fight, but based on that, when you see people about to what you think is a mistake, do you step up? Because sometimes I wish people did. Dude, I got married in Vegas. I wish someone would have said, hey, dude, don't do it.
I mean, if you would have told me.
No, but hey, even
if I didn't
all of it didn't happen overnight.
If I didn't call you and you're like, bro, I just got married in Vegas, maybe I would have been like, hey, dude,
I was with the girl for years. I had a kid. No one once said, hey, look, I know you're probably thinking about doing the right thing, but don't. Because no one wants to be that guy. You see what I'm saying? No one wants to be the person to tell you the truth. And because you can't handle the truth. But sometimes a good friend, that's what they would and should do in that moment. So if I was going to be a good friend, and guys like Garcia or any of these guys in these powerful positions of fame and clout, they're surrounded by yes men. And a lot of times those yes men never want to be the person to say, yeah, maybe you shouldn't. I would tell Ryan, dude, you're not ready for that fight.
Do you think in some NBA...
You might and could win, but I don't think you should do it yet.
Do you think in NBA and NFL locker rooms, do you think there's guys that are like, yo, see this girl, I'm going to meet up with her tonight?
Don't do it.
And there's teammates that are like, yo, dude, you got a good girl. What, are you going to cheat? Or even like, yo, she looks shady. Have you met her? Like,
no one wants to be the guy
you don't want to be the buzzkill.
The truth. You don't want to be the buzzkill. You want to let that person ride high on their confidence or whatever. And look, could Ryan win that fight? And I'm only using this as the example. Yeah, man, anything's possible. Yeah. But I think it would be better advice to say, yeah, man, maybe you should fight another dude and then work your way up that way.
What if I was Sam?
What if there was an investment your buddy was about to make? And you're like, yo, dude, I don't think that's a good idea.
Oh, when you bought all that swampland from Eric Estrada?
Like when I bought that swampland from Eric Estrada, you don't think a real friend would have said, I know you're really like into it and you believe in it, but maybe you shouldn't, dude.
I'm putting my kids' college into NFTs. What if Iowa Sam came up to you?
Does a real friend root you on, or does a real friend give you his opinion, even though it might be a bit of a buzzkill here?
Hey, Covino.
Yeah.
Iowa Sam here. I'll pretend I'm Iowa Sam. You know, I think I've had enough. I'm under-respected. I'm going to barge into the boss's office and say, I need more money or I'm out now. What would you tell Iowa Sam? Hey, you go get him, kid. Or would you tell Iowa Sam, like, I don't know, bud.
Well, first I'd say, here's the best advice I would say. Did Iowa Sam ask me my opinion? Right? No one wants to give their opinion or shouldn't give their opinion unless it's asked for.
No, see, you're just going against what you said.
No.
If Ryan Garcia's not asking, if Ryan Garcia doesn't say, hey, friends.
You don't think he has people in his camp that he's saying, do you think I should? They're all such yes men
I think
probably to him that they're like, yeah, man, whatever brings the money.
I think
they're all about the bottom dollar.
I think so much of this conversation has to be you having the huevos to tell your buddy
up, even though they didn't ask. Okay,
yeah,
well then, hey, we're figuring it out as we go because we all have younger relatives, we all have family members, we all have friends and colleagues and coworkers that we work with, are related to, or root for, that you see them making like dumb moves, but no one tells them they are.
I have a great example of a dumb move, and he's here to defend himself, but I think he's editing in the other room. Our buddy Spot.
Oh boy, can't wait to hear this one on national radio as Rich spills the beans and the tea on Spot.
I thought you said you hate when people spill beans. It's a waste of.
Yeah, I'm glad it turned into tea.
So, our buddy Spot, when he first was dating his now wife, so it all worked out for the best. He's happily married. But when Spot first started dating his wife, it's actually like not a good story as far as like what happened. His wife was walking through New York City, and a delivery guy on a bike hit her, and she shattered her knee.
Yeah.
It was a bad situation. Hit and run. The guy, delivery guy took off.
She had to get an operation.
His wife,
she's in the hospital.
Operation, had to get all this crap done to her knee. Spot was like, yeah, I'm meeting someone out tonight, or I got to do this at work. And we're like, dude, go to the hospital and spend time with your girlfriend.
If you're trying to make a good impression on this woman that you say you like, you better be by her bedside in this moment. Because it was early in the relationship, too, and he was all about her. I'm like, that's a big mistake to not be there.
And Spot's answer was, oh, she told me I don't need to be there with her. And I'm like, dude, she may have told you don't need to be there with her.
You know what, Rich, you're right. A friend could butt in with their better advice whenever they feel necessary.
I remember you and I being like, yo, dude, we care about you, and go to the hospital with your girlfriend. It's like when your mom or someone in your family is like, you don't need to buy me anything for Christmas. It's like, I don't know if I believe it.
So, based on, again, Garcia going from 140, he weighed in at 143.
Yeah.
To fighting someone that normally fights at 178 at a catch weight of 168. It's just way too big. Based on that, I would say as a friend, like, hey, man, don't do that. Is that how you approach your friendships and your relationships when you see people making the wrong moves?
It's different for regular people and celebrities.
I think friends got to step up.
It's different for regular people and celebrities because Danny G's seen this because he worked a lot in the music hip-hop world. When someone gets really big, no one around them has the huevos enough to say something. Like, I've seen A-list artists come in and be like, listen to my new song or what I'm doing, and everyone in their team's like, oh, gold, baby, gold, that was great. No one will say, might need to rework it a little. How many times have you heard an artist come out with a piece of trash, but everyone in their camp's like, you go get him, yeah.
That's why some artists purposely want some form of family member around them so that they can kind of get some truth.
Yeah, like I wonder, and I'm only tying it into another popular story today. I'm not telling you how to feel about it or whatever, but you think anyone in Harrison Butker's camp or family said, look, you're entitled to feel what you feel, but hey, as a friend, I'm just letting you know.
Well, they probably all agree with him.
And you know what?
Share his stances.
Everybody, and he's allowed to feel that way.
And he's allowed. I'm not saying
problem.
Not saying he did
I
anything
just
wrong.
think he probably grew up in a environment where people had those values and beliefs.
But I'm wondering if someone said,
I hear what you're saying, though. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's say you did share in those views. There's no one that had the wherewithal to say, hey, look, I agree with you, dude. But just know in today's world, that might be twisted in some other stuff. You might be canceled and people might hate you the next day. Is it worth it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I think someone should have maybe brought that as a possibility up to him.
That's a good tie into the Butker thing.
It takes a really, really big you-know-what to tell Kevin Federline that Popozow is not it. Remember that video? Like he was, and he's doing like to be like, this ain't it, Kevin.
Yeah.
This doesn't work.
Dude, I totally remember that.
Do you remember that video?
Yeah, of course. Yes. I think we interviewed him right around that time, to be honest.
We did, and I remember Kevin was like, did we just interview Kevin
Federline? I'm not even joking you. Yeah, think about it. We're here to say that now that we made it clear and figured it out, a real friend would step up and tell that person, hey, man, you can do what you want. I'll support you.
You can even say,
but here's what I think.
You could say, I believe in you.
Yeah, and I believe in you.
But what you're doing is risky.
That's it.
I believe in you, but I don't know if you should elope with this woman you met a week ago.
Good one. I would tell my brother was dating a woman who had a family already. She was not married anymore or whatever. She had kids. I'm like, hey, dude, if you're in love and you're going for it, I wish you all the best. But just know.
Are you ready to be a stepdad, bud?
Yeah, exactly. And that's how we need to approach our friendships moving forward.